The case of the meandering stream. Ooh, mysterious. Not really. Because of the movement of meandering streams, which is that they move back and forth, snake-like, across a relatively flat landscape, there is a predictable pattern of erosion and deposition that can be identified. Picasso, I'm going to identify it. First, there are a couple of landforms up front that I want you to be aware of. The cut bank and the point bar. Then there'll be two more momentarily. Take a look at this theoretical meandering stream. You can see the stream is moving snake-like across the landscape. Now look at this. If you look at the outside bends of the meandering stream, which in the case of this particular stream, on the top part of it, it's to the left, and on the bottom part, it's to the right, like where that letter B is at on the bottom part. That outside bend of the meandering stream is the erosional bend. Because that area is being eroded and cut away, we call that outside bend the cut bank. As you're going to see, the stream is forced into that direction of the erosional outside cut bank because of that erosional movement. Then the inside bend, which you can see on the top part is to the right and on the bottom part is to the left, like where the letter A is at. And you can see that there's material around the inside bends. That area is the depositional part of the bend in the meandering stream. And we call that material that's being deposited there the point bar. Remember from the last lecture, every time a stream slows down, it will deposit material. This is the reason when you look at this diagram here that the cut bank exists. As the water's going around that outside bend, it's sort of scooping it out. Imagine your hand going around the dirt, reaching out and scooping at the dirt. This is kind of what's happening with the water as it goes around that outside bend. It scoops away at the landscape. And you can see where it says bank erosion on the right-hand side, that there actually begins to be like a little lip that hangs over and then will collapse, then hang over and will collapse. Meanwhile, what's happening is as that water's going around, it's digging out deeper and deeper. I myself have many times jumped into rivers that are going through this, and that is indeed the deep area. Then you swim across and you come up where that letter A is at, where it says sediment deposition onto the point bar. So the outside bend is being cut away. That's the cut bank. And then that inside bend, there's deposit. This is the point bar. Take another look. Notice the currents and the velocities indicated by the length of these arrows. You can see that as the water's going around the inside part of the bend, the water's going to slow down. That will result in deposition. Remember, every time a river slows down, material will be deposited in the hierarchy. Heaviest material first, lightest material last. So this is a real picture. This is the Merced River in Yosemite National Park. If you look on the bottom right in the red, on the red arrow, you can see the point bar. That's all depositional material. Then you can see, if you look carefully, as you go out in the water, if you're going to wade out in the water, you can see the water gets deeper as you go over towards that other bank, which I have that kind of orangish arrow pointing towards it, which is the cut bank. And if you look carefully and you just follow the point of the arrow, you can see that it has indeed been cut away. Now, this is at a very low water moment in the Merced River. If you look up towards the top, you can see where I have tree falling. You don't think those trees grew like that naturally. Of course they did not. What happened is the river has cut into them because the river is constantly eroding away in that direction. And what the river did is it cut into that area where the trees were growing. You can see those trees are falling right into the water. Same thing here. You can see the cut bank. There's very, very low water level in the Merced in this picture. But you can see where it's been cutting away. The blue arrow, that's my bike, by the way. Interesting story about the bike. You want to hear it? Well, not right now. Then again, you can see here where the red arrow's at, the point bar around the inside bend, and then you can see the cut bank around the outside bend. And again, you can see those trees falling into the water. Take a look at this. This will show us the evolution of a meandering stream. If you look carefully where I put those two yellow arrows, you can see that there's a dotted line indicating the original course of this particular meandering stream. But what happens is this. Because the outside banks, the cut banks, are erosional and the inside bends of the stream are depositional, Just like those white arrows are showing you, the river is constantly pushed into bigger and bigger loops, wider and wider bends. You can imagine, with increased discharge, that would also be known as a flood. What's going to happen is the river may very well jump its banks. And when it jumps its banks, it will cut off former bends in the meandering stream and create new stream channels, because rivers are constantly changing. Here are these other features of meandering streams. What are known as meander scars that are dry former bends in a meandering stream, and oxbow lakes, which are horseshoe or boomerang shaped lakes that are formed in the former bends of meandering streams. If you look at this diagram, we met this diagram before, you can see I've circled the meander scars. You can see that they look like kind of half moon shaped cuts on the landscape. They indicate where the stream once was, but it has changed course. And then again, you can see the oxbow lakes. This also indicates where the stream once was moving, but is no longer moving because it changed course, and it makes these kind of boomerang or horseshoe-shaped lakes. We've seen this picture now many times. This is the Fox River, of course, in northern Illinois, and there's Lake in the Hills, also known as Algonquin, at the top. But if you look at where those 3 orange arrows are pointing, you can see on the landscape the meander scars, indicating where the river once was. And if you look carefully at that picture, you can see there are actually multiples of these all over the place because the Fox has changed course over and over through time. Of course, the people who own that farmland don't want it changing, but nevertheless, the river has its own mind. Then if you take a look at this picture, you can see these oxbow lakes that I pointed at with the red arrows. But if you look carefully, you can see meander scars on this photograph. You can see other oxbow lakes. This is what happens when you have a meandering stream.